haven't escaped yet, have you?
How long have I been here?
Shut up! It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks you've sat there and let yourself be tortured and starved. Now why won't you escape?
Why do you want me to escape?
What?
You obviously brought me here for a reason. So why do you want me to escape?
Enough! You can sit there and rot for all I care.
3 weeks. Just a little longer now.
I got a woman as big as a house, yes, sir. She's as big as a...
Hey everyone, Sol here. I have only one rule here. If it's animated, I'll comment on it. And we're in the 3rd week of Sol's Spooky Halloween, The Revenge. Or, well, I mean, this is the 3rd video. I hope these are airing in the correct order. I mean, who knows, maybe I'm so brain dead from being tortured that I'm not airing these in the correct order. I'm just going on the assumption that this is the 3rd review you've seen, so let's continue this month of spookiness with a look at one of the quieter releases in our lineup, namely, Igor. Igor is a French-American CG animated movie produced by Exodus Film Group and Sparks Animation Studios, and was distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in 2008 to a relatively decent box office turnout. Since I was so light on the history, I think I'll give you guys a little bit of a tidbit. You know the guy who directed this movie is the same guy who's going to be directing that Emoji movie coming next year? I'm just gonna leave that little piece of knowledge to stew for a little bit, and, well, let's continue the month of spookiness. Let's reanimate ourselves some Igor. So this movie's overall scenario isn't exactly something you can find in bulk for 5 cents at your local discount supermarket. But then again, it's not exactly a gleaming diamond on a padded pillow in a supermarket 2 towns over managed by a guy you were casual acquaintances with in high school named Barry Schwartz. I forget where I was going with that, but anyway, the movie takes place in the land of Malaria, which used to be a farming community before an endless storm of clouds covered the land. In order to make money, the king of the town blackmails the rest of the world by having Malaria's evil scientists make crazy inventions and doomsday devices, and making everyone pay to not have them unleash their inventions upon the populace. Working for those evil scientists are hunchbacked people known as Igors, who serve as their slaves and are never allowed to be inventors of their own. But when the annual Evil Science Fair rolls around once more, a plucky Igor by the name of, well, Igor, takes the place of his fallen scientist with the evilest invention of them all, life itself. Now, as I said back in that somewhat rambling introduction, the plot itself actually isn't all that bad. I'd even go as far as to call it creative, but the core problem with the plot isn't in its concept, but its execution, which seems to eschew the more intriguing ideas it has in favor of more traditional progression and story beats, which to me feels like a pretty big waste. There was a good opportunity to bring something new to the table here, but just like the Igors in the movie itself, it's just another face in a mundane crowd. So for the characters, there's a small, centralized cast, which is a bit of a relief for me. But are they any good? Well, Igor is the protagonist, and his dream is to become an evil scientist and invent things, despite the fact that Igors aren't allowed to invent, or else they get recycled for spare parts. Yeah, and before you ask, they're not robots, so that's pretty grim. I'll get to that in a bit though. See, I'm tempted to say I like Igor, but that'd be fairly disingenuous, since there's a pretty big chunk of me that doesn't like him at all. He just seems like kind of a douche in the first half, so it's a bit hard to support him when things start going his way later. One could argue that his attitude is based on the fact that he's regularly beaten by his master Dr. Glickenstein, but I don't know. The physical abuse is portrayed more in a comedic manner, so I don't feel that's a worthy excuse for his dickishness. Still, I've seen worse characters for sure, so let's just move on. Next is Eva, the result of Igor trying to make life as his evil invention for the evil science fair. Eva's evil bone doesn't get activated upon her creation, making her an ingenue, so she gets brainwashed by Igor to be evil, but instead her brainwashing turns her into an aspiring actress. Yeah, it makes more sense when you actually watch the thing, but it definitely is an odd turn of events. Eva is probably the only halfway decent person in the whole movie. I mean, she does have kind of a nice personality, and she manages to stay upbeat and confident even though she's supposed to be an evil monster. I wouldn't go as far as to say she's a great character, but there is a bit of genuine heart inside her cobbled together corpse pile of a body. Then there's Scamper, a rogue-killed rabbit made immortal by Igor, who has a death wish and who constantly tries to commit suicide all throughout the runtime, and Brain, a brain in a jar who's a complete moron. The two mostly just support Igor and aren't all that interesting, since they're mostly comic relief, but they're not horrible, so I'll give them a pass. And lastly is the villain, Dr. Schadenfreude, a popular scientist who always wins the evil science fair and who wants to steal Eva to use in the fair in order to win and unseat the king from his throne. Schadenfreude is a dick, and that's kinda it. He's a bit of a one-note character, and besides being dickish and domestically abusing his girlfriend Jacqueline, there's not much to say about him. Not the most stellar lineup of characters, but I'm inclined to give them a pass because, hey, they don't make me want to shove my ears inside my asshole, so yeah, let's just move on to the good things. Considering how middling this movie's been so far, can I break through the malaise with any stellar compliments? Well, I do have one big one, and that's that this movie's sense of humor is definitely unconventional for a movie aimed at a younger audience. While it never goes overboard with gore or violence or anything like that, it does have a very macabre sense of humor that really likes to make the characters suffer. I can't say that the physical abuse is funny, necessarily, but at certain points there is a slapstick moment or witty line that manages to be amusing, enough so for me to mention it. I can't say it's for everyone, but it definitely caught me off guard with its more morbid moments. Also, though I won't say the animation had me in paroxysms of amazement, I do like the overall style and design. It's most comparable to something like 9, or A Corpse Bride, but with a browner color palette, and I do find it appealing in general. And now let's move on to the bad things, and since I didn't have any stellar compliments to give it, do I have any asses full of shit to dump on this thing? Well, as I said briefly before, the plot has some good ideas, but it takes them in the complete wrong direction. This whole concept could have been the proving ground for something wild and insane, but instead it feels stuck, like its ankles have been shackled by overfamiliarity. I may be getting a bit too abstract here, so let me simplify it by saying that I just feel like there was a million other directions this movie could have taken, and the one it took just ends up being samey and tired, which is so hard to criticize since there's never anything interesting to say about productions that are just so middling. Now, there are worse sins it could commit, and actually that reminds me, this movie does have a fairly moderate case of plot diarrhea, though mostly just in the first half. What with its exposition dumps and its inability to have a single shot last longer than 6 seconds. Still though, I don't feel there's any one thing this movie does right or wrong more so than anything else. It really is just middle of the road, so I'm just gonna end this off here and now. Igor is a completely middling affair in every sense of the word. I seriously can't think of anything powerfully important or impactful to say about the whole thing, so I guess I won't. There are definitely worse reasons to dismiss a movie, and I can't say for certain that this movie is not bad, but it's not that good either. It just sort of exists, and that's something of note to keep it around in the future. I give Igor. Two and a half eyes out of 5. So, Igor, is it watchable? Yeah, it is, but don't expect anything truly amazing to make you blow a hole in your chair or anything like that. Is it enjoyable? Well, certain aspects of it are enjoyable, but it's so mediocre in the story and everything that it's hard to give a definitive yes or no answer. Is it memorable? Well, yeah, but at the same time, no. I mean, it's so middling and mediocre that I can't really remember much of it, but at the same time, I don't see myself forgetting it entirely. It's hard to say why. I think you might have to watch the movie to understand why. But anyway, thanks for watching the third review in Saul's Spooky Halloween: The Revenge. I only recorded 4 of these reviews in advance, so if it so happens that I have been tortured and killed, and I didn't make any more reviews, then that might mean that next week's review, the final Saul's Spooky Halloween review, will be my last review ever. Want to stay up to date with all the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my review of Igor. We got one more review in Saul's Spooky Halloween: The Revenge. Will it be the final review ever? Well, I guess you'll just have to see next week. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate a like and a share, as well as a subscription to my channel, because I really do appreciate that. If you want to check out the previous Saul's Spooky Halloween episodes, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now. Or if you want to check out my various social media sites, you can see my links to my Twitter page and my Facebook fan page there on the screen for you, as well as in the description. If you have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can leave me a message in the YouTube comments on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I will add it to my list. Okay? Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I will see you next week for the final part of Saul's Spooky Halloween: The Revenge, and maybe the last review ever.